Hello and welcome to another episode of the Plus 63 HP podcast reviews edition. I'm one of your hosts, John Clemente. Alongside with me again is my bestest best friend, Chubax. How are you,
What's
Chubax?
up? Hello. Welcome to our
Welcome.
reviews.
And if this is your first time in the channel, thank you very much for the view. We really appreciate it. We hope that you go to your friends, your family, mom, dad, sister, brothers, phone, laptop, go to their browser, type in youtube.com slash plus 63 HP and like and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment, hit that notification bell so you know when any of our multiple shows drop their videos. So Mondays and Tuesdays, we do reviews on one a series of the week and one movie of the week so that you can know what we thought about said movie or TV series. You can spend your well earned resources and time if you should watch it yourself. On Wednesdays, we drop our very first D&D campaign. Us
Yeah.
middle-aged friends has never played D&D. We started once. It's a year old now, which is kind of amazing. We're having a great time. So we record our first campaign. We post it on YouTube and on our podcast for posterity's sake. But join in our adventure, see our growth. I think there's been a lot of improvements on the many months that we've run our very first campaign. On Thursdays, Chubax right here curates an amazing list of trailers, short
Wow.
videos, featurettes, clips, just cool content that's coming up in the horizon. So those are the things that kind of makes us be excited, be hyped about what's coming up next. So if you want to learn more about things that you might be interested in, join in. Do our plus 63 HP ratings with us as well. On Fridays, because Chubax and RJ is having such a great time playing D&D, they spun off their second campaign or our second campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Those videos drop every Friday. So every single day of the week, as long as we've recorded some content, you'll have new shows to enjoy with us. Again, you can watch us video on demand on YouTube. You can interact with us at any point in any of the major social media networks. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with the handle at plus 63 HP. And if you just don't want to watch us, if you want to keep us in the background while you're doing your chores, while you're working, while you're walking around, grocery shopping, uh, open your podcast app, your favorite one, search plus 63 HP, and we will definitely be there. We'd love for you to subscribe, leave us some comments there as well, help us with the algorithms. As mentioned, this week we've already discussed our series of the week, which is this first season, Strange New Worlds, Star Trek, pretty cool. And our movie of the week is a new Netflix drop called Day Shift. It is Jamie Foxx. It is Snoop Doggy Dog. It is
Yeah.
vampires in LA and vampire hunting. So it's going to be fun. But before we discuss that movie in depth, we'd like to invite you to join us on our next week's discussion. We're going to be discussing No. It's dropping video on demand this week. It is the new
It has
Jordan
dropped,
Peele
I
joint.
think.
It has dropped.
But
Um,
for rent only, I think.
yeah, and it is the new Jordan Peele joint, his third major film. I've seen it in the cinemas. I can't wait to share my experience and my thoughts on it.
Did you like
So
it?
if you want,
Yes or no? Just yes or no. No. No.
yes, I did like
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay, I did like it. The intensity on what I liked about it is a fun discussion
We'll
to have.
discuss it. Yeah.
And yeah, so join us in our discussion on that next week as well. So our movie of the week is one of these Netflix exclusive movie drops that has fairly high budget with big stars associated with them that has kind of like a various levels of quality, but which is weird. And we've discussed this multiple times. There's this different criteria of movies where we just watch it on Netflix, right? It's something that is kind, I don't know, it's like either our brains shut off a little bit more. Are we a little bit more thankful that we have something new with our $20 a month subscription? So this is exactly one of those. But before we go to the synopsis and spoil all the shows, Chubax, what did you think about the movie? And then how would you kind of like um pitch this to people that have that say, hey, I see it on my Netflix queue. I've never clicked on it. Should I click on it? Why or why not?
So basically, it's your vampire hunter with some John Wick action style fight scenes. So yeah, I think that's the pitch. Did I like it? I I enjoyed parts of it. I like some of it. Like I guess the was it the sum is not greater than the parts. Is that the term? And also, so
Mhm.
there were parts that were good, but it didn't make for a great movie.
Yeah, I think we're very much aligned because, like, on paper, on the trailer, I was hyped about this movie because,
Yes.
right, trailer was cut well. It looks great. Like it looks great. The uh the look is cool. The action is great. Of course, Jamie Foxx is charismatic. You dump their Snoop Dogg as a vampire hunter with a giant cowboy hat and a Gatling gun.
Oh
Come on,
yeah.
come on. Yeah, Dave Franco, whatever. But even the big bad, Carlos Souza, hot,
Mhm.
charismatic, makes sense. So at the very least, I was thinking this is going to be a very simple movie where, all right, vampire hunter needs some cash, kills the wrong vampire, now is being hunted, etc., etc. It could have been very clean, but somehow they still kind of like fumbled
Yeah.
a lot of the storylines in it. Um, but in the end, it's just like I mentioned, it's a sit down and open your eyes kind of movie. Like
Yeah.
it will neither waste your time
I mean,
or
they bungled it enough that I was comfortable watching it with my daughter because it wasn't too scary. It wasn't. There was blood and gore, but it was done in a like John Wick fun way. So it wasn't
Mhm.
really. It wasn't.
It's a PG
Um.
13 John Wick kind of thing.
Yeah. It wasn't. Over the top. Oh well, it was, but it was. Yeah. It's too over the top. It's like more campy than really blood and gore. So I was fine with my daughter watching it, and she liked it. She had fun with it too.
Yeah, the thing here is like I was watching this and I will bet you that this is going to be one of the films that Corridor Crew will discuss because there are a lot of stunts here that like that is obviously mannequin. Like you didn't even try to kind of like hide that or anything. So that's going to be fun. But there again, there's like spots of good action. A lot of spots of good
Yeah,
action.
yeah,
It's shot very, very well. And I do really like LA, the backdrop as its own character. It felt very authentic. It felt new, but it felt lived in. So I really enjoyed that. But again, it's one of those things where the director JJ Perry, it's her directorial debut, and it's very apparent that it's one of his first films. The writers as well, it's like kind of like it's a story by a guy Tyler Tice that doesn't have a Wikipedia of his own, so it means that it's kind of like one of his newer properties. And yeah, it's one of those where I think this could have used a little bit more massaging, a little bit more scaling down, because they kind of skipped a lot of beats in order to just get to the action and get to killing a big bad, whatnot. But
yeah. And
um,
it's kind of sad too because there's so much that you could have liked, like the. I think it's more on I guess lazy because they wanted it to be cool. Like what we all know why we love John Wick because it's the mythology. It's
mhm,
the assassins, the continental, the table, and they did the sprinkles here, like the different types of vampire, the
love that.
sunblock, but
Mhm.
they didn't go. They didn't explain it too much. I couldn't even tell what the spider
Exactly.
was. But they just said that there's different kinds, all three. They shouldn't be staying, but they didn't specify enough. They did. A better writer would have incorporated each. proper. This one's the spider. Jamie Foxx would have seen the spider at the first part. Then his next
Mhm.
fight would have been a different one,
Yeah.
and so you would have
Mhm.
explained it properly. So
An
stuff like that.
Uber vamp. Like,
Yeah,
you're 100% right, because I dug the explanation. I mean, I love the idea that, the tooth is how they gauge the age and they gauge
yeah.
the value or the strength of the vampire. So that's cool. And
I like the
I love
union. The union
the
too was
union versus
yeah,
like independent. That's what, all of those things. You're right. It's there. All the elements are there. It wasn't tied together properly. Right. You had the pawn shop version of the union. You have the union. You have the different versions of the vampire. What Carla Souza or Audrey San Fernando is trying to do, with the sunblock, like all of those things. Like I didn't even get the sunblock till the end. Like I guess, like, what, I just thought that she was on the up and up, trying to kill these older vampires because they wanted to run LA a little bit more. So that's kind of the reason why I think a better writer, better director collaboration, a little bit more experience would have either scaled the film down so they can go a little bit deeper, or kind of just like, you'll see how lazy it is, because like the first time that Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco said, was like, tell me about the different types of vampires. I was like, whoa. It's literally, aren't we supposed to show not tell? But this is
yeah.
like the most telling version of tell.
They
Um
could have intercut like scenes of
yeah. Like,
different
hey,
versions.
that is an Uber vamp.
Yeah,
Why is an Uber vamp? It's like, there's so many things, but I understand the pace, and I appreciate it's only 114 minutes. It's under 2 hours. So and they didn't have as big of a budget as other Netflix videos. Like this was just 100 million, but still, like,
that's still
quality's
a
there.
lot.
But again,
Yeah.
it's all about story and execution. So um with that, are we ready to jump into the plot, the synopsis?
Go.
Cool. Very simply, our main character is Jamie Foxx playing Bud Jablonski. He is a vampire hunter posing as a pool guy. He is obviously an irresponsible-ish father slash vampire hunter, causing a lot of trouble because as we can see in the trailers, he's no longer in the union that pays more per vampire kill. um we start off with the movie by the main impetus why Bud wants to get back to the union and get money real quick is because his ex-wife and kid is going to be selling the house and moving elsewhere, uh moving to Florida from LA, uh because Bud couldn't cover a lot of his expenses. So Bud enlists his friend Big John Elliott, kind of like a
Yeah.
main man in the union, who was played by Snoop Dogg, to kind of vouch for him to come back. And under the conditions that Bud, so we get a little bit of like exposition that Bud was part of the union, but had so many violations in his vampire hunting days that they had to kick him out. And enlist endangering other hunters, having been seen, etc., etc. So there's a lot of conditions for him to come back again, and one of the part of the conditions is for a week, Bud will have to be observed, supervised by Seth, played by Dave Franco. So they go on a few hunts. Seth was tasked to just find violations so that uh, Bud can be kicked out of the union. Uh, Bud can be kicked out of the union permanently. Um, and oh, are we hopping in,
Yeah.
Arnie?
Let him go. He watched, so it's gonna be a waste if it.
That's true. Okay, and so uh, right, so but Seth's role was to find violations in the union protocol so that Bud can never come back in again. But in their hunting, As per usual, the square Seth gets to say Bud's hands-on experience in terms of the things. So things can't be played by the book or black and white. Um, and
Practical
he
application.
yeah, and so the idea of what's been happening is now one of the earlier hunts that Bud has killed was apparently a very important
Important
daughter
one.
of the main big bad Audrey San Francisco. So Audrey San Francisco is one of like elder vampires, very hot elder vampire played by Carla Souza, that is trying to instead of different vampires fighting each other, becoming a little bit weaker against the daywalkers. She was to be able to develop this kind of like sunblock so that they can take more of the real estate around LA and become kind of like the top dogs there, combining all different tribes of vampires in that case. So because Jamie Foxx killed Audrey Fernando's daughter, he has been hunted, foiling a lot of his trying to hunt to get money with Seth. So lots of fun stuff happened, lots of action. You can watch the movie if you want to. But in the end, I think that the last
Dude, you can't skip my favorite part. The Nazarian brothers.
oh
Bro.
so
Dude,
so
that's
that
my favorite part. Bro.
We share everything, bro.
We show
We share
everything.
That's a good. That's why I figure like there's a lot of really cool action set pieces here because
Yeah.
again, so the lore, even if it was messily written, it has a lot of meat because the
Yeah.
idea of it is like there is the union, but there's also a lot of freelancers. So there's a lot of people that are kind of doing their own thing. They have their own style. Different types of weapons, like the disgusting garlic chewing gum that the
Love it.
Zarian brothers have been
Burns a
passing
hole
to
in
each
their
other,
head.
right? So that is disgusting. But so yeah,
It worked.
that's
Dude, that would have, if they killed the brothers, I would have turned it off. I was like, I love that they did that. They did not go that
Yeah.
way. Like, they're just in and out. They're just badass, and they are badass. Because most movies would have done it like, these are the badass, and then they're gonna die, so that our
Yep.
hero can be
Yeah.
like that. This one, we're badass. We come in, we go out. Like, damn, like I love it.
It opens up for a spin-off.
yeah,
That's
spin-off
their
or
brothers.
sequels. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that this
And
movie
one of them was Scott
attempted.
Adkins, who's as in Corridor Crew as well. One of the Stuntman episodes.
Oh yeah,
He's there,
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's on the. So I love their action sequence, the sharing, everything's on Velcro, so you can just grab it. It also, and my favorite part was the was that load me bro, or send me
Load
one,
me.
send me one, bro, and then
Send me one.
he unlocks it, and then it shoots. Like, holy shit, that was awesome. Like,
And the
fucking-
idea of the good thing about here, I saw in the Netflix featurette that they've shown, a lot of the vampires that they hide were just like contortionists and
Oh.
gym. So that's why when you throw
So
somebody's
this
like, it's a little unique
Wow.
because again, there's so many vampire movies out there, so you want to make sure that these monsters are a little bit unique. So that was cool. I really enjoyed that. A little additional. So here's another messy thing that they did. So the Audrey San Fernando, who was trying to figure out who killed her daughter, and then when she kind of found out how like who it was by torturing Bud's kind of underground pawn shop version friend of the people that are paying cash for vampire fangs, she enlisted a vampire as to spy on her, on Bud. Um,
yeah, like
not yeah, Heather, right?
Heather the nurse.
She's hot. She's great. You already know
dude,
that. Oh, she's
Natasha, she's
Sabine Wren, man.
Natasha
That's the same
Lobodezo.
actress.
She's gonna
yeah.
be
So like,
Sabine Wren.
yeah. So super hot, super great. But like, you literally just like drop a major character that will be your fucking ally for, and
No,
then
no backstory,
no
no
backstory.
other scene. Just that scene where he's bringing up laundry.
And then the next thing they're already like, oh,
Yeah,
I know
fighting-
you're a
fighting
traitor.
her,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're fighter, and now you've turned and you're on my side now. Whoa.
That's one of the other issues I have. Like, does making you a vampire make you, bad immediately, or
Because
is it like Buffy where you lose your soul and you become a bad guy, or because Natasha Libertizo became good because her line was like, "I was forced. I didn't even want to do this, but she's making me do
Yeah.
it." And then we get
But Seth, I mean,
Dave Franco, yeah,
yeah, we get
yeah,
Seth.
he
Dave
had
Franco.
he had a conflict. Like there was the instinctual like part, and then of course when he lost his head, like, dude, you cut my head off.
No, after he did it once because of the
Yeah,
hunger, and then after that he's
yeah,
fine.
He was in
yeah,
control,
And then
right?
after
So
that,
that
like,
yeah.
is he gonna be in the union still? They don't know. And then if it's normal, if that's normal that you can have a good vampire, they should have more vampires in the union. It shouldn't be like, is she
Yeah.
special?
what
Because I would have
And is
understood. No, I would have
how about
understood.
Snoop?
No,
I think Snoop's a vampire
dog
now.
too, right?
I
Eh?
would have understood if Dave Franco was the special one and he's the good vampire. But then you have Natasha Libertizo, who was a normal vampire, and then suddenly she's just good. Like, come on.
That's the extreme messy part here, because that would have been cool, so
Yeah.
that Jamie Foxx has two two vampires that is loyal to him, so that they could topple the San Fernando empire of vampires. But there's no mention why Dave Franco could control his hunger. There's no like, there was a little bit of mentions like, oh, just like make sure
Dude,
or we're gonna kill you. It was like there's
dude, it's morbing time.
no, it's no like no real through line, and it's sad because both Dave Franco and so Seth and Heather are, particularly Heather. Bud would have never known the secret lair without Heather.
Hmm.
They would have not gotten through to the main chamber without their help, because most of the kills were by Heather and Bud too, which I also understood. It's really cool that Heather Natasha Liu
Libertizo.
Bordizzo is samurai, and then Dave Franco is kind of like a Wolverine feral type. So that's cool. Everything, there's cool elements, but like when you look at it, that doesn't make sense. And why does uh, um uh Jamie Foxx or Bud Jablonski only have one friend, and your friend is the man, right? So
And
doesn't the man have other friends?
is he gonna turn like
Yeah, but we can skip to the end where Audrey San Fernando wanted to make Bud suffer by having Bud's daughter be turned into a vampire, and having that daughter eat or kill the mother in front of Bud. That was kind of like the setup
Hmm.
that Audrey San Fernando wanted to do.
yeah,
So
another lazy writing? Oh, I'm a big bad boss. I'm gonna keep your family alive
child,
to
yeah.
kill
Yeah.
them in front of you. Just kill
She
them.
was
And,
basically monologuing, right? Like the whole
yeah, the bad guy
syndrome, right?
monologue. Yeah, agreed.
You could have done the same thing. You should have turned the daughter right away,
Yeah.
and then you'd have won.
Yep.
Period. But the idea of it there was like, before that happened, by some miracle, Heather there was a spy for Bud, turned coated, and then helped Bud find the secret lair. They stormed it with Big John. In the storming of the castle, unfortunately, Big John was bitten. Very badass. Like, one, minigun, super dope. Two, cowboy hat. Everything that's like, I knew Snoop Dogg said like, I just want to be fucking badass here. So he was. He got bitten though, which is kind of sad. We
And
don't know
West
what the
life,
happen.
West Side for life.
they could have used more Snoop also.
Yeah, I think like if he's that good, he wouldn't have been bitten. But also, if he wasn't bitten, he couldn't have that awesome last stand. So either way, we see him in the post credit. He's still
Still
walking
He's
around, so
alive.
he's fine. Still
he's
alive,
a
is cool.
vampire.
Is he turning
Uh,
though? We don't know the rules of turning. Is it
we g-
bitten,
Yeah,
I'm
blood?
sure he's gonna be. I'm sure he's gonna turn, right? Because like that's the
yeah.
case. But he might just be kind of like Dave Franco and Natasha Lubordizzo. So, and that's what happened. Of course, what had happened is, Bud was able to uh trick kill Audrey San Fernando by his like special silver uh invisible string, invisible wire that he has been using for a while. Saved
Yeah.
his wife and daughter. Now I do like the idea that the wife and daughter knows what he does now for a living, so they can probably do it.
He's a good measurer of height.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The neck, right?
Mhm. Like right in the face for at least this one. So
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it. That is Day Shift Netflix. With that, Arnie, you were here in our intro session. Uh what do you think of the film? And how would you want to like pitch this to somebody who hasn't seen it, if they should watch it or not?
Well, okay. Uh, I think I mentioned to you guys before, like I'm just tired of the whole vampire, zombie, horror trope and all that stuff. Like, they could come up with new monsters or something like that. But this movie, I mean, with all its flaws, it gave something new. Like, okay, they briefly explained the classes of vampires, and then there's the whole bounty on the vampires, right? I wish they explained why the teeth are very valuable. Maybe more than like a jewelry part, but whatever. But I enjoyed the movie. I mean, for what it is, it's good for what it is.
Chubax, final thoughts and kind of like your rating for Day Shift.
Rating. I'm gonna go with a 6. Lots of fun elements. So that's still what levels of good for us. Still in the
Yeah.
good rating. 6. Uh, just lazy writing because again, like you said, we said there's so many elements that are good that if they only tied it together properly or focused on it, it would have been amazing. Like Arnie, we were talking about them introducing different kinds of vampires, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't really explain it properly. Like I didn't know
Yeah.
what like
What's a spider?
they named it. Yeah, exactly. I
Super
said spider.
Eastern.
Yeah,
What's
but
the other one? Uber. And then
they
there's
did
like the juvenile vampire.
they didn't show it.
Yeah.
And then the union was also a cool idea, but
Mm-hmm.
it was only on the background. I could have used more
Yeah.
Snoop. I love the Zarin brothers though. I mean, I wouldn't mind a spin-off or a sequel. I mean, if they clean their act up, it has
Yeah.
happened. So, and not to mention, like this one, I saw this from Double Toasted. Did you see the explosions? Did you see those explosions? Like, it's so funny because it's like, I'm sure this is one of the things they're gonna show in Corridor Crew.
Oh, 100%.
'Cause
You'll see
it's
like
just so
in the
bad.
trailer too.
There. Look at the explosions. Oh.
They slowed it down
They just
so that you
couldn't.
could actually see that it was
After Effects.
no like a
Yeah.
mannequin.
Yeah. No, it's the fire. Look at the fire. It's not even
The
like
fire
from the motorcycle. They just put like so that's I saw it from this one. Like damn,
What was the budget, Jong, for this
100
one?
100
million.
million. So not as
Oh,
big as Red Notice or 6 Feet Under. So okay, so it's half. But
most of it is Jamie Foxx and Snoop. Huh?
I was gonna say most of it's probably like the soundtrack for Snoop.
Oh yeah, soundtrack. Yeah. All
Uh,
right.
uh, I'll do before we close it out with Arnie. Same with
Rate,
me.
yeah, rate.
Oh, my
Uh,
my my rating is going to be an actual 6 too. And here's the thing is like I like you. I want them to have a sequel and a spin-off series, and I want them to have like better writers and better directors because
Mhm.
they have good bones here that I'm sure that they could clean up. Uh, but there's just a few very atrocious things in the movies, effects wise, that like pulls down the amazing fight choreography, right? Everything most of the fight choreography that had happened was super cool, super fun. Um, Jamie Foxx was like quipping in between, so it's like, all right, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's like John Wick, and I would love more John Wick stuff. I could never have enough, so I'm keeping it as a 6 because at the very least, if you sit down and you open your eyes, it's fine. Like it's one of those. It's free on Netflix. Um, it's a slightly different take on the vampire
Hmm.
covens and hierarchy, and like I do again, like I mentioned earlier, I really like how they built made LA a character as well. It's not
Mhm.
just the
It
the
did look
people.
it
So
did look
Yeah.
nice, the setting.
looked nice. It looked it. We went to places in LA that we don't see a lot, like just like regular townhouses, closed down bowling alley. So it's like
Hmm.
it was great in that end. But my God, all the mistakes were like really took me out, and it's not something that I will not. I won't watch this again ever. But I will watch the next one. So Arnie, how about you? What's your final word and rating on Daysha?
Okay. Uh, I will rate it as 7, but let me explain. The movie itself is 6, but because of Natasha Liu or
Berdozo.
Bordozo,
Liu
I I
Liu.
got I got a preview of how she would be as Sabine Wren. That's earned the bonus 1 point. Um, I could compare this to Bright, that old Will Smith movie that about orcs and all that stuff and fairies that should have had some sequels or spin-offs. So the world building was fine. Like it gave something new to the vampire genre and something cool to think about. The writing, yeah, yeah. So it would it have been better as a series? Mm, maybe depending on the writing. But yeah, the sequel definitely I'll watch it, especially if they bring back at least the main cast and Snoop, and then
Gotta bring
maybe
back
they could
bro.
go.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bro.
they'll have
oh
their
yeah,
own.
yeah, or the Nazarian brothers too. I mean, they could go after El Jefe, whoever that is. So yeah,
Well, uh, I think yeah. So that's generally our thoughts with Day Shift. Again, this is very unique. The more that we do these special Netflix only drops, again, if this were in the theaters, I don't
oh
think I'd be
hell
like
no,
Oh
I'm
hell
not
no.
watching
Yeah.
it.
It's all in
right. So
context.
yeah, but it's that's kind of like the good thing. Like we are becoming more like even as viewers,
Yeah,
are we're becoming more complex, more forgiving in some, and more
yeah.
strict in some. Like
Well,
if you're a Disney Plus series, like you can't
yeah.
fuck up. If you're a
Like
Netflix, sure, fuck up. I don't care.
this
Whatever.
movie, if we
Which
were
is
in high
funny because
school,
Netflix is more expensive than Disney.
Exactly.
yeah,
Which is that's where it's like now that we're like becoming like we're reviewing these and looking at the budget, it's
yeah,
like the 100 $200 million movies, and it's just
Yeah.
it's mid.
yeah,
It's unique. So I mean, maybe
yeah,
that's why Netflix is struggling a little bit more. It's like
yeah.
you need to be more HBO
QA has to
quality.
be more
Yeah,
solid.
yeah.
But I would compare this to remember when we were in high school, where on Friday nights we borrow a VCD, we drink in high school. But yeah, it's something that we'll watch as a group, laugh at it, and then forget about it.
Yeah.
So
There's a place for
there's
sit
a
down and
place
open
for
your eyes kind of
exactly.
movies, and
Yeah,
this is barely passing. So they did a few
yeah,
good things, they did a lot
yeah,
of bad things, so hopefully the next one is a little bit better.
yeah.
But with that, cool, this is Day Shift, our movie of the week for +63 HP podcast reviews edition. Final goodbyes, Arnie.
Well, hello and goodbye.
Your box.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for watching and come back for more.
And again, thank you very much for watching till the end. Remember, youtube.com/+63HP. Please
Yeah,
like, subscribe, and
baby.
comment on the videos. We love growing this community of like-minded individuals that like good content, watching it with friends and family. We're on the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at +63HP is our handle. And if you don't want to watch us, if you don't want to see our faces, you want to put us in the background, open your podcasting app that's on your phone, search +63HP, and we will be there. We particularly like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon. And as a reminder, next week we'll be discussing She-Hulk, the first 3 episodes. We're also going to be discussing Nope as our movie of the week. So it's going to be a very cool, fun, content-packed, uh, amazing shows and movies for our next week discussions. Thank you again, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.
Later, guys.